Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Let's go where I was gonna go then. Um, I think I'll. Yeah, I guess I was going to Jeremiah 30. Jeremiah
Mm-hmm.
30, and let's see. I think I was starting at the beginning of that and reading just both of them. Yep. So, mhm. The word that came to Jeremiah from Yahuwah, saying, "Thus spoke Yahuwah, Elohim of Israel, saying, Write in a book for yourself all the words that I have spoken to you. For look, the days are coming, declares Yahuwah, when I shall turn back the captivity of my people, Yasharal, Yisrael, and Yahudah, declares Yahuwah, and I shall bring them back to the land that I gave to their fathers and let them possess it. And these are the words Yahuwah spoke concerning Israel and Yahudah. For this is what Yahuwah said: We have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask now and see if a man is giving birth. Why do I see every man with his hands on his loins like a woman in labor, and all faces turned pale? Oh, for great is that day, there is none like it, and it is the time of Jacob's distress, but he shall be saved out of it. And it shall be in that day, declares Yahuwah of hosts, that I break his yoke from your neck and tear off your bonds, and foreigners no more enslave them. No more. And they shall serve Yahuwah their Elohim and Dawid their sovereign, whom I raise up for them. So right there, this is long after David was dead.
Mm-hmm.
So this is either David or a seed of David that's going to be raised up as the sovereign.
I find it to be a seed.
Mhm.
If
So,
David long gone, it got to be a seed.
well, does it?
Got to be. If he's long gone, you just say he was long gone.
Well, what about Ezekiel? Shall the dry bones live again?
Mm-hmm. No,
So,
I don't think David was resurrected again.
yeah,
That's just
I'm saying
my
I'm
opinion.
not arguing with you. I don't think so either. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I don't even think Yahusha is going to be it. I think there's someone going to have the same exact spirit or ruach as, but will it be the same exact flesh? I don't believe so.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I believe that it would be the same spirit, just like when Yahusha said that he called Yohanan or John Elijah, but was he
Mm-hmm.
Elijah?
No, he wasn't Elijah.
But he operated in the same spirit or ruach.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I don't believe that every angel or um every time we've seen or Yah's presence stepped on earth or we seen it, that it was always the same angel or malachim. I believe that Yah's spirit has the same agenda, the same purpose, but it was not always the same exact one or whatever. Like a lot of people would say, "Oh, that was Yahusha." I think Yahuwah's salvation is always active in us as well as in all of his spiritual beings. So just
Okay, and
go ahead.
to argue your point, how would we know it was Yahusha or not, and we never seen him? How would we know?
How would we know? We wouldn't. But
There you
it,
go.
it also mentions that he's going to have new flesh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if it's a new flesh, and even when he came up out of the tomb, his disciples didn't recognize him.
Mhm.
Do you remember that narrative when they were approached to him and he was talking, and then they perceived that it was him?
Yeah, I think it was because he was covered up, or because after a while they did recognize it.
Yeah. After, but he they didn't mention about him uncovering nothing or whatever. You know, they did. His voice was different. It seemed that everything, they didn't recognize who he was,
Mhm.
but upon him keeping on talking, his spirit would manifest the same. But hey,
Mhm.
that's just my perception.
Right, I got it.
You
I
know, I'm not one that believes in reincarnation and all of this different stuff either,
yeah,
though.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
believe that our I believe his spirit has always existed in those that are his. And
Mhm.
so though you just are in the earth right now in 2024, if you were a part of his remnant, your spirit existed way before this time frame.
Mhm.
He knew you. He knew us in the womb. He knew what spirit he put in man before they manifest into life.
Mhm.
So that's how he knew what Judas was going to be before Judas even, did what he did. He already seen it. He already identified it. But
I believe we gonna recognize who he is if we adhere to what he said about his second coming.
I'm saying we're
That's
gonna recognize who he is because of the spirit that's in us. It's gonna tune in. And yeah, what's been said about him, but I'm just saying, it's not like you said, none of us have seen his flesh. So how,
yeah,
you know,
yes, yes,
so because
yes,
that, I think that's one of the things that they're gonna play games on. That's why they wanted to change the appearance and all this other stuff.
yes,
And,
exactly,
but that's not
exactly.
gonna matter. Those that know him gonna know him. Those who
Mm-hmm.
operate in discernment is going to be able to identify. You know, it's many scripture that said that it's gonna be David,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think that it's gonna be someone with that kinship or whatever, because but hey, you know, I think the multitude of times that people have had an occurrence with an angel or whatever, it was not. Even though Yah said it was him, it was not exactly Yah. If you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean, there was a representative of Yah. It was his proxy, and so
Mm-hmm.
we've always dealt with Yahoo as salvation. Even Moses was called Yahuwah salvation.
Mm-hmm.
Yahuwah deliverance and Yahuwah salvation is the same thing, but
Mm-hmm.
he was not Yahusha that we know. He was not that physical form. He was Moses.
Mm-hmm.
So that term and that phrase, I feel like we've connected it to a specific being, when Yahuwah salvation is just that, Yahuwah salvation. So it's not connected to one specific flesh or body. All of us are supposed to be Yahuwah salvation. So if he used somebody looking like somebody else or whatever, it's still him. It's still representative of his spirit. We're looking for a specific person, but I don't think it's going to be a specific person. It's going to be a specific spirit. But that's another story. Anyway,
Okay.
all right. And said 9 again, and they shall serve Yahuwah their Elohim and Dawid their sovereign, who I raise up for them. And you do not fear, O Yaakov, my servant, declares Yahuwah, nor be discouraged, O Israel. For look, I am saving you from afar, and your seed from the land of their captivity. And Yaakov shall return and have rest and be at ease, with no one to trouble him. For I am with you, declares Yahuwah, to save you. Yahuwah is salvation right there.
Mm-hmm.
Though I make a complete end of all nations, a complete end of all nations.
Mm-hmm.
What did that mean to you, Craig?
He'll make a complete end of all nations. He's gonna destroy all nations.
So somebody could read, I mean, listen to this and say, oh, they're saying nobody else but Israel. And that's never my argument, but they can hear that being read and think, oh, you trying to say nobody else. It's like, is when you cleave or you come up under or you submit your authority to another nation in a monarchy, your nation no longer is what you're called by. You become a possession of that monarchy, and you basically you have that stamped on you. You know, I got a TV over here that's you know, made by a certain company, but of course it's the Carters. It belongs to us. So regardless of who manufactured or whatever, where it was made, it's ours. So these people that do come in from other nations, they won't have a claim to their other nations anymore. They'll claim Israel. They will not biologically be Israel, but they will become a part, or they will cleave, or be grafted in, or all these different things that we can name, but they will be labeled Israel.
Okay, put your thumb right there and go to Isaiah. What's that? Isaiah 14 chapter.
Isaiah 14.
1, I think 1 and 2.
Isaiah 14, 1 and 2.
We're gonna come back to that though. Get a precept of what you just said.
Okay, and let me change this back over to my favorite. I'm spoiled.
That's okay. I already know that. In more ways than one.
Okay, 14, 1 and 2. Because Yahuwah has compassion on Jacob and shall again choose Israel and give them rest in their own land, and the stranger shall join them.
What did it say?
The stranger shall join them. And they shall cling to the house of Jacob. They're gonna cling. So as what we read in Leviticus 19:33, they're no longer strangers.
Yes.
They're treated as natives, as ones born above among us.
Yes.
You know, that title of strangers drops off of them because they are ones that are obeying his laws and governed by the same law, same Torah that we are under. But that's one of the hard things, because most other nations want to come in and do their own thing.
Yes.
But how can you do that? This is not a democracy. This is a monarchy. You either go with what the king has to say, or you get dominated one way or the other. There's no democracy. There's no arguing with the king and saying, oh, we want to do this. We want to be able to eat what we want to eat. No, you either obey or you get dominated.
You dealt with.
And peoples shall take them and bring them to their own place, and the house of Israel shall possess them, possessions for servants. And truly that should be slaves. But that word slave is offensive to people.
Right.
And female servants in the land, because nobody wants to see themselves under a master. But even Israel is under a master.
Yes, that part right there. That's it.
You know, Abraham had a beautiful wife named Sarah. And Sarah called him master.
Yes.
She didn't find any hardship in calling him master. You know, but you know, due to our knowing about chattel slavery and all that, you know, we hear slavery in a negative connotation, when, you know, biblically that's not what it was about.
Right.
You know, that's not how it's supposed to be. We were supposed to be slaves to Yah. And, you know,
right,
man, that term Sarah, the name Sarah actually means princess too. So yeah, I just had to add that in. I know that ain't got nothing to do with me. Yep. Yeah. But it says, and they shall make captives of their captors and rule over their oppressors. So those who have had us as captives they're going to become our captives, and we're going
Yes.
to rule over them.
Yes. But the thing about it is we're gonna treat them as they treated us in our
No,
captivity.
yeah,
And that's what that's what the other nations are afraid of.
yeah. They expect us to reciprocate to them what they did
Yes.
to us, and we don't function like that. You know,
No.
if Yah was to reciprocate on to us
Oh
the
we.
disrespect that we done towards him, he would
Oh we.
utterly destroy us. There would be
Yes.
no there will be no reconciliation. There will be no renewed covenant. There will be none of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
we are supposed to be his image in the earth, so that means we have to have compassion. Now one of the hard things that come to mind though is that we see melanin people over and over showing compassion, but they don't do it with biblical sense.
Mm.
You don't see any teshuva occurring towards them for them to do it. They you know, the person, you know, they just forgive them, and they haven't showed a change, an inch of change or whatever. They still are doing the same thing that they're seeking for you to forgive them for.
Mm-hmm.
That makes no sense.
At all.
You know, you need to cut that person off, or not deal with them
Mm-hmm.
if unless they're gonna change. And so these people right here are willingly going to be captives.
Yes.
They're going to willingly
Willfully.
submit to the
Yes.
authority.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
the dynamic again, we talked about it earlier, is going to be as if like a husband to a wife. They're going to be a submitted wife to us as we're going to be their husbands over them, the master over them. They're going to be like children to a parent. They're going to be like children to us. They're going to have access to what we have, but yet recognize that it belongs to us.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to have access to the kingdom, but they're going to recognize that it belongs to Israel. You know, it's not that we're trying to put them in a place of, you know, poverty. No, they're going to have access to the riches, but the riches don't belong to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You get the benefit of it, but it's not yours.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Go back to Jeremiah.
Okay. And you do not fear, O Yaqub, my servant, declares Yahuwah, nor be discouraged, O Israel. For look, I am saving you from afar, and your seed from the land of their captivity. And Yaqub shall return and have rest and be at ease, with no one to trouble him. No one. So that means those that we have as captives, they're not going to trouble us.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Right.
gonna do this thing willfully.
Willfully.
They're
Again.
gonna have a pleasure. They're gonna have a joy. They're gonna be like a child that loves to serve their parent, and that the
Mm-hmm.
parent rewards because of such service.
Mm-hmm.
Many don't. One of the hardest things for me to see at a time was that Eliezer, the servant of Abraham, who he was going to give everything to, that man was going to be treated as a son and gain all of the wealth of Abraham if he had not had a son. He loved Eliezer, and Eliezer loved him. He viewed him as a father, even though he was his master. That man was so entrusted that he went and sent him to go get his son a wife.
Mm-hmm.
He could have shirked off that duty and not even went about it and said, "Oh, I didn't get one." You know, no, he went and did it, willfully did it, and you know he loved Abraham.
Yeah.
You know, he could have been jealous of Isaac and it's like, "Hey, this was gonna be mine." You know, he could have sought to kill him or do it, whatever, but no, that wasn't his mindset. He was going to obey Abraham and do what was best for Yitzhak.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's kind of, you know, interesting to have a servant that could have had everything that decides, you know, that I'm gonna honor my master. You know, that's yeah, that's how we supposed to be. You know, instead of looking for the riches of the world and trusting all of these, I guess, Illuminati and all this other stuff to make us wealthy and give us the riches of the earth. And a lot of us are tricked into selling our souls or giving over our love towards things instead of Yah, because we want to be wealthy, we want to be famous, we want to do all this stuff, and the stuff that they have us do, put ourselves in shame. It's like it ain't worth it. All right, here 11. For I am with you, declares Yahuwah, to save you. Though I make a complete end of all nations where I have scattered you, yet I do not make a complete end of you. But I shall reprove you in judgment, and by no means leave you unpunished. Mm. So we're gonna get punished. We're gonna get our judgment. But he's still going to restore us. Mm-hmm. Okay. For thus says Yahuwah, your breach is incurable, your wound is grievous. No one pleads your cause to bind up. There are no healing medicines for you. All those loving you have forgotten you. They do not seek you. For I struck you as an enemy strikes with cruel chastisement. He chastises. The father who loves his son chastises his son. So he chastises us as his son. Because your crookedness is great, your sins have increased. Our transgressions against him have increased. Why do you cry about your breach? Your pain is incurable because of your many crookedness, because your sins have increased. I have done this to you. Basically, he chasing those he loves. Mm-hmm. He whooping our tail because we deserve to be whooped. Mm-hmm. However, all those who devour you shall be devoured. So I'm going to even deal with the belt. I'm using these other people as the belt on you, but I'm going to deal with them because they probably they didn't do what I asked them to do. They did over and above what I told them to do. I wanted you whooped, but I didn't want you killed out, stumped out. I didn't want you to have all of this going on. I wanted to whoop you, but they abused you. They did too much. Yeah. And all your adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity. Every one of them. And those who exploit you shall be exploited. And all who prey upon you, I shall make a prey. Mm-hmm. For I restore health to you and heal you in your wounds, declares Yahuwah. For they have called you an outcast, saying, this is Zion. No one is seeking her. Thus said Yahuwah, see, I turn back the captivity of Yaqub's tents, and have compassion on his dwelling places, and the city shall be built upon its own mound, and the palace stand on its right place. And out of them shall arise thanksgiving and the voice of those who are laughing. And I shall increase them, and they shall not diminish, and I shall esteem them, and they shall not be small. He's going to restore us. And his children shall be as before, and his congregation shall be established before me, and I shall punish all who oppress them. And his prince, Mm-hmm. And his prince shall be from him. Not his king shall be from him, but his prince shall be for him. And his ruler shall come from among him, and I shall bring him near, and he shall approach me. For who is this who pledged his heart to approach me, declares Yahuwah. Yah never decided, he never wanted us to have a sovereign over us, but he wanted to be that. And you shall be my people, and I shall be your Elohim. See, the storm of Yahuwah shall go forth in a rage, a whirling storm. It burst upon the head of the wrong. The burning displeasure of Yahuwah shall not turn back until he has done and established the purposes of his heart. In the latter days, you shall understand it. You're going to comprehend it in the latter days. So we ain't there yet. All right. 31. And at that time declares Yahuwah, I shall be the Elohim of all the clans of Israel.
Who? Of all the clans of who?
Israel.
My goodness.
And they shall be my people.
Mm.
He didn't say all the clans of the world, all
Wait
the
a
clans
minute.
of the earth.
There it is. You said it already. There it is.
Thus said Yahuwah, a people escaped from the sword, found favor in the wilderness. Yisrael, when it went to find rest. Yahuwah appeared to me from afar, saying, I have loved you with an everlasting love, a temporary love.
Everlasting.
Okay. Therefore, I shall draw you with loving commitment. It's a part-time situation. He ain't in this for forever. So the covenant, it ended. It was, there wasn't no commitment. This was something that was temporary. That ain't what it say. It say with a loving commitment. I'm going to build you again. I'm gonna renew my agreement with you. I'm gonna do it again. And you shall be rebuilt, O maiden of Yisrael. Again, you shall take up your tambourines and go forth in the dances of those who rejoice. Again, you shall plant vines on the mountains of Shamaran, or I guess that's Samaria. The planters shall plant and treat them as common. So it's going to be a lot of them because it's going to be common. It's going to be a lot. For there shall be a day when the watchmen cry on Mount Ephraim, arise and let us go up to Zion, to Yahuwah our Elohim. So we're gonna have his presence among us. For thus said Yahuwah, sing with gladness for Yaqub and shout among the chief of the nations. These nations, remember, he destroyed all other nations. So these nations he's talking about are nations of Israel. These are the tribes.
Or try.
Cry out, give praise. Oh, say, O Yahuwah, save your people, the remnant of Yasharel. So it makes sense that the 12 gates of this kingdom would be named after Israel because it's for Israel. Yeah, right. That it just makes sense. See, I am bringing them from the land of the north and shall gather them from the ends of the earth. Among them, the blind and the lame, those with child and those in labor, together a great assembly returning here. Kind of fits what we was talking about in Isaiah 66. When they talked about him, gathering up Israel and he choosing from them Levites. But yeah, with weeping they shall come, and with their prayers I bring them. I shall make them walk by rivers of waters, and in a straight way in which they do not stumble. For I shall be a father to Israel and Ephraim. He is my firstborn. Hear the word of Yahuwah, O nations, and declare it in the isles afar off, and say, he who scattered Israel gathers him, and shall guard him as a shepherd his flock. So he let it be known, he the one that scattered us, and he the one that's going to gather us back together. He is the one that set a covenant with us, and he is the one that's going to renew the covenant with us. For Yahuwah shall ransom Yaqub and redeem him from the hand of one stronger than he. We're in the hands of people right now that seem to be stronger than us. We're operating as the tail, them as the head. And
you know what?
Go ahead.
Don't mean to cut you off.
You go ahead. You can cut me off anytime. Go ahead.
I think it's important for us to, just for educational purposes, to define the word saved. What do it mean to be saved?
You tell me. Go ahead.
I think it can be found over in let's go to Luke.
Okay.
Let's go to Luke. I think it's in Luke. First chapter of Luke.
I'm there.
We got to define some of these words. Luke, when it says he's gonna save us from our enemies. You know where I'm at? Luke, I think it's the first chapter of Luke. Let me see.
Mm-hmm. I know it used to mess me up how they would say, "Oh, you saved," and it's like I don't feel saved.
Right, exactly.
And then when I found out that he was saved, basically you got to endure to the end to be saved.
Right.
That did not match up with what they were, because I was going to that altar. I think I went to the altar 10 times in a year. Because I never felt like I was saved.
Right. It's in Luke, Luke 1, and we'll read 69 through 71. It says, "Blessed be Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharel, for he has visited and redeemed his people. He has raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophet, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all those who hate us." So salvation, to save here, means to be saved from our enemies. So which has been reiterated throughout this these verses which you're reading right now in Jeremiah.
And so my 71 says deliverance from our enemies and from the hand of all those hating us. And so when I sit back and think on that, what is salvation for other nations if they're the ones that we need to be delivered from?
Right. Their salvation.
How did that match? They saying,
right.
Right. Who you seeking salvation from? You
don't man. See, it's just amazing how the Most High got this thing, mapped out. Their salvation is cleaving to us, the very person they were oppressing. That's gonna be their salvation. That's gonna be their redemption.
Could you say that again?
Their salvation is to cleave to the very people that they were oppressing. The Most High gonna flip the script on them.
They don't. That's right there. They don't want to hear that. That's not what Christianity is teaching.
I already know.
That's not what what's that 7-day Adventist is teaching.
I already know.
No.
Yeah.
Woo. Yeah. Ouch.
I know that's some good stuff, man. That's some good stuff.
Yeah. So we're going back to Jeremiah, or you got something else to add?
No, go ahead. I'm done. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, so back to Jeremiah 31, and I think it was at 11. "For Yahuwah shall ransom Yaqub and redeem him from the hand of one stronger than he."
His enemies.
Yeah, his enemies. We ain't the stronger ones. That is obvious that we are not the stronger ones. That over and over, we are the ones in the oppressed position over and over. So where do we have, I guess, any type of domination on this earth? Even in lands that are supposed to be mostly our lands, they still have oppression going on to them. They paying out the French, they paying out European nations, they paying, where do we have any dominance anywhere? Like even when people try to say that we could be, y'all racist or whatever, I'm like, or I don't know. It's amazing. I've heard some people try to push it like we the ones want to push ourselves as the superior race, and I'm like, I've never seen that. I guess in a large number of us, I've seen some people push that every once in a while, but I'm like, We have no authority anywhere. I'm like, I go to work and all I see in leadership is what? I'm like, other nations.
Other nations.
I'm like, only place we have authority is in our own homes. And a lot of times we don't even have it there.
Mm. True that.
There, you know, I'm like, what? In gangs or, you know, I'm like, what? Where do we have authority? And there, even when we claim some form of authority, there's always a greater authority than over us. So we've always, you know, known in our lifetime ourselves as being the tail. Even when we felt like we were head of something, we always had to submit under somebody else or something else. We, you know, we go to their military, we go to their workplaces, we go in ministry. You know, Christianity had you, you know, seminary, you know, that they have to be subject to the Pope, all these different things. There's always some pale skin, palm skin person that is always, you watch any type of movie, you got the most strongest superhero. He always has a palm skin handler. Somebody, you know, we always have to have some form of guardian over us, or we always are treated as a minor where we have somebody that we have to answer to.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. Okay. 12. And they shall come in and shall sing on the height of Zion and stream to the goodness of Yahuwah for grain and for new wine and for oil and for the young of the flock and the herd, and their being shall be like a well water garden and never languish again. We ain't gonna have no thirst. We're gonna be good. We're gonna be, man. Then shall a maiden rejoice in a dance, and a young man and old together, and I shall turn their mourning to joy, and shall comfort them, and shall make them rejoice from their sorrow, and shall fill the being of the priests with fatness, and my people shall be satisfied with my goodness, declares Yahuwah. Thus says Yahuwah, a voice was heard in Ramah, wailing, bitter weeping, Rahel weeping for her children, refusing to be comforted for her children because they are no more. Thus says Yahuwah, hold back your voice from weeping and your eyes from tears, and there is a reward for your work, declares Yahuwah, and they shall return from the land of the enemy. And there is expectancy for your latter end, declares Yahuwah, and your children shall return to their own country. And I have clearly heard Ephraim lamenting. You have chastised me, and I was chastised like an untrained calf. Turn me back, and I shall turn back, for you are Yahuwah my Elohim. For after my turning back, I repented, I teshuvah. And after I was instructed, I struck myself on the thigh. So I disciplined myself. I was ashamed and even humiliated, for I bore the reproach of my youth. Ephraim, a precious son to me, a child of delights. For though I spoke against him, I still remembered him. That is why my affections were deeply moved for him. I have great compassion for him, declares Yahuwah. Set up signposts, make landmarks, set your heart toward the highway, the way in which you went. Turn back, O maiden of Israel, turn back to these cities of yours. Till when would you turn here and there, O backsliding daughter? For Yahuwah has created what is new on earth. A woman encompasses a man. Thus said Yahuwah of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, let them once again say this word in the land of Yahudah and in its cities when I turn back their captivity. Yahuwah bless you, O home of righteousness, mountain of set apartness. And in Yahudah and its cities, farmers and those who journey with flocks shall dwell together. For I shall fill the weary being, and I shall replenish every grieved being. At this I awoke and looked around, and my sleep was sweet to me. So this was a beautiful dream that Jeremiah had. See, the days are coming, declares Yahuwah, that I shall sow the house of Israel and the house of Yahudah with the seed of man and the seed of beasts. And it shall be that as I have watched over them to pluck up and to break down and to throw down and to destroy and to afflict, so I shall watch over them to build and to plant, declares Yahuwah. So it sounds like he ended our chastisement. He done did all these things to us because we earned what we got. We earned the punishment. In those days, they shall no longer say the fathers ate sour grapes and the children's teeth are blunted, but each one shall die for his own crookedness.
For his own.
That's key to me. Ain't nobody dying for me. I'm gonna die for my own crookedness. Whoever eats sour grapes, his teeth shall be blunted. See, the days are coming, declares Yahuwah, when I shall make a renewed covenant.
Renewed. Wait a minute now. It don't say renewed, do it?
Now, I guess in the King James it would say a new covenant.
But I know what it means.
But the interesting thing though is that this wording matches up with Hebrew 8. So it's like, okay, this is a long time. It's a long space between Hebrew 8. So did he do this multiple times? Or is he talking about the same thing?
Talk about the same thing.
Same thing. And then who are the participants? Who are the beneficiaries?
Yasharel and Yehuda.
Renew covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Yehuda, the same as Hebrew 8 and 8. It ain't adding in no Christians. It ain't adding, all of these other different things. You showed us the scripture earlier. You mentioned it where it talked about basically all those other ones gonna be done away with. All the other nations done. It's only gonna be Israel, which includes Yahudah. So, not like the covenant I made with the fathers in the day that I strengthened their hand to bring them out of the land of Mizraim. Is it saying it's going to be different? No. It said, my covenant which they broke, though I was a husband. We talked about earlier about him being a husband to us, we being his wife, but in the same situation, we being his image in the earth, the other nations becoming our wives. Just like Yaakov lost his name and became Israel as he was linked to Yah, these other nations are going to lose their name as they link to Israel.
Man, this almost stating verbatim what is stated in Hebrew.
It's exactly the same. That's what I'm saying.
What was that in Hebrew? Hebrew what now?
8 and 8.
Hebrews 8 and 8. That's stating verbatim.
Yeah, that's what I'm
stated
saying.
There.
Hebrews 8 and 8 was quoting this.
Right. Paul was quoting this.
But yet, people try to say, oh, it's something new. It's something different. See, this includes the Christians. It's like, no. This text of Jeremiah didn't have no inkling or no idea of what a Christian or what, none of that.
At all. At all.
Even when they try to do that in Peter with, the royal priesthood, it was talking about Israel. You go back to that Exodus 19 and 6, 5 and 6. It's dealing with Israel, but they want to make it in the royal priesthood to be Christianity. It's not. You can always see when somebody trying to tamper with some stuff. I have people getting upset saying, oh, you don't like the New Testament or you think it's fake. I'm like, no, I don't feel like it's fake. I feel like people have messed with it to make it fit their narrative instead of the narrative is supposed to. You can do that because you can read this stuff here and make it fit something else. But if you take your time and read it and add in everything and put the context, you can't. We talked about that with the world. That man said the world that he dealt with was the assembly, the set apart place in the Yahudim. That was the world he dealt with. But now they want to make the world be everybody.
Everybody. Yeah.
I'm like, they
Yeah.
was amongst the Romans and the Greeks.
Mm-hmm.
You nowhere in the gospel, but sorry, do you see them ministering to their captors?
No, you don't. You don't find that. Matter of fact, they would have got their head cracked for doing it.
Yeah. Now when you go to Romans, you say they talking to the Romans. They could have talked to the Romans right there. No, but when you go to the book of Romans, they calling them brothers. So it's obvious. And then you already been told that Paul or Shual was a Roman. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, if this is an Israelite calling himself a Roman, you think he the only one that called himself a Roman that was a native Israelite? No.
Right.
And if he was born and raised as a citizen there, and he came up under his father, who was supposed to be a Pharisee of the Pharisees, his father would have been a Roman citizen too, right? And so
Right.
that means if his father was a Pharisee of the Pharisees and he was a Roman citizen, it would make you think that there was a synagogue there or a place there that had other Romans that lived and acknowledged themselves as Israel. But then
Mm-hmm.
you would also should think that if you got some that claim themselves as Israel, just like right now, me and you claim Israel, but most of our family, our biological family, do not claim Israel. So why would we think that Paul would have a whole different experience where all his relatives gonna claim what he claimed?
That's good. That was good right there.
Yeah.
That was good. Mm-hmm.
32, not like the covenant I made with their fathers in the day when I strengthened their hand to bring them out of the land of Mizraim. My covenant which they broke, though I was husband to them, declares Yahuwah. For this covenant I shall make with the house of Israel after those days, declares Yahuwah. I shall put my Torah, not a new Torah, my Torah in their inward parts. So now what changes is the delivery system. You went from having it on tablets to now it's written in your heart. But think about this. A man makes his vows to his wife. The first instance of them getting married, the likelihood of him having that memorized is small. Likelihood he gonna walk up there with this paper and read them vows. But as year after year go by, anniversary after anniversary, and he done read these and read these and read these, eventually his memory gonna kick in on some of it. And he ain't gonna have to have that paper as much. Eventually, it should be written in his heart.
Yes.
The meditation that he has given towards it should rest in him. Now, we know good and well that we some stiff-necked people as a people. So y'all gonna have to help this to happen. So he's going to be the one that does this.
Oh yeah.
You know, we're gonna put this on hold, and I gotta go here. I gotta go here.
Let's go.
Go to Ezekiel 36.
A minute to get there, buddy.
Yep.
Ezekiel, next book over, 36. Okay, 36 and what?
Okay, 36 and I'm gonna say 23.
23, okay.
And I shall set apart my great name, which has been profaned among the nations, which you have profaned in their midst. Who is you? Israel.
Israel.
And the nations shall know that I am Yahuwah, declares the master Yahuwah, when I am set apart in you before their eyes. And I shall take you from among the nations, and I shall gather you out of all lands, and I shall bring you into your own land. So this is sounding the same as what we've been talking about. And I shall sprinkle clean water on you, and you shall be clean from all your filthiness, and from all your idols I cleanse you. And I shall give you a new heart. Hold on. Where's the new covenant written?
in our hearts.
And I shall give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. And I shall take the heart of stone. Where was the first covenant written on?
Stone.
And I shall take the heart of stone out of your flesh, and I shall give you a heart of flesh, and put my spirit within you, and I shall cause you to walk in my laws, my Torah, and guard my right rulings, Torah, and shall do them. And you shall dwell in the land that I gave you, your fathers, and you shall be my people, and I shall be your Elohim. And I shall save you.
Uh-oh. There it is. Again.
Redeem you. Yahuwah is salvation. I shall save you from all your uncleanness, and I shall call for the grain and increase it, and I shall bring no scarcity of food upon you. I shall increase the fruit of your trees and increase the increase of your fields, so that you need never again bear the reproach of scarcity of food among the nations. And ye shall remember your evil ways. We're gonna remember our evil ways. It ain't gonna, people think we're gonna forget. And your deeds that were not good, and ye shall loathe yourselves in your own eyes for your crookedness and abominations. See, people want to make it like you have to forget your past. No, you need to loathe yourself in those, those situations, but also change. Not for your sake am I acting, declares the Master Yahuwah. Let it be known to you, be ashamed and blush for your ways, O house of Israel. Thus says the Master Yahuwah, on that the day I cleanse you from all your crookedness, I shall cause the cities to be inhabited, and the ruined places shall be rebuilt, and the land that was laid waste tilled instead of being ruined before the eyes of all who pass by. And they shall say, this land that was laid waste has become like the Garden of Eden, and the wasted and deserted, the deserted and the destroyed cities are now walled and inhabited. Then the nations which are left all around you shall know that I, Yahuwah, have rebuilt the destroyed places and planted what was laid waste. I, Yahuwah, have spoken it, and I shall do it. Thus said thus says Master Yahuwah, once again, I shall let the house of Israel inquire of me to do for them. I shall increase their men like a flock. As the set apart flock, as the flock of Yasharim at an appointed time, so shall the wasted cities be filled with flocks of men, and they shall know that I am Yahuwah.
So all that being said, and all that you have just read, are we in the renewed covenant term?
I say two parts.
All right, let me hear.
I say maybe it's both.
Explain that.
Before something has to manifest in the earth, it has to be true in the spirit. So there are a lot of us that may be walking in the new covenant that have his spirit and his laws written on their heart. That's not the whole of Israel. And so it is not true, but it's true. So maybe it's both to me. See, one of the things that I constantly try to say, that Israel is viewed as one man. Exodus 4:22 says Israel is a son, so it's viewed as one man. And thus, Yahusha is a part of that one man. So the fact that he walks in the new covenant, yes, it's true for him, but we are following his example. And so thus, we're not all exposed to that. We're not all doing that. So it's not manifest yet. But that spiritual, it is done, or it is fulfilled spiritually in Yahusha. But we, the rest of the body, are not on not in line with what the head is doing.
Mhm.
You know, the head has set forth the directive. Just like when your mind says, move your right hand, Shanquilla, the thought has to come for first before the hand moves.
Mhm.
So the thought is there. Yahusha has set it in motion. And so spiritually it is a reality, but in the natural it is not. So
Okay.
I believe the spiritual realm has authority or superiority over the natural, and thus I try to speak a lot of times off of what's going on in the spiritual realm, but of course, since it's not manifest, it doesn't line up in people's eyes, and so of course they're going to automatically reject it.
Mhm.
So
So
I believe we are in the new covenant, but of course it has not manifest. We have
okay.
not seen the end results of it. All of this stuff that's said right here, as far as making a clean heart, I see him actively doing it with me and right now.
Mhm.
But of course, the remnant is exposing itself, but we don't know, it haven't fully revealed itself.
Okay. I would.
Otherwise, how, like, okay, I know you. I'm gonna let you say what you're saying, but like the process of awakening. When you awake from your sleep,
Yes. That's it.
you still be groggy, but you awake.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
you got to gather yourself. So
Mhm.
we're being gathered.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We're awakening, and so we're
Mhm.
groggy. But yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you. You said the right word. We in the process of becoming renewed because there's all. As you read that text, there's a lot of variations that got to take place. He got to gather us and put us in our own land, so we can fully operate in His Torah
Mhm.
without any obstructions. Right now, we got too many obstructions. We in the land of our oppressors. He got to bring us out from that. And, as I said before, and as you mentioned, we are in the process of being renewed.
Yeah.
We in that process.
Because like the whole Exodus situation, you see, he wanted them to go to the wilderness to worship him, but the process
Mhm.
started right there in Goshen.
Yes, right,
You
exactly,
know,
exactly.
the
That's where we are.
Passover and all that. He acknowledged
Yes,
them as his son, his firstborn son, as he started killing off Egypt's firstborn son. And
yes.
this land really need to be thinking.
Hmm.
You know, if they know what we know, and Israel is his firstborn son, and all this stuff that havoc that then did towards Israel, us as a people, there's probably going to be a major die off.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt,
And
no doubt.
you know, it hey, niggas get up out of here. And I said NEGUS,
GUS, I got
you
you.
know, get up out of here. You know, you royal priesthood, get up out of here. Get up out of
Hmm.
here. And even as we leave, and they're gonna try to reclaim us back. the
Hmm.
same, the same. Hey, we have as a people, human beings follow the same patterns of life. So just like we as Israel gonna follow the same patterns. Our oppressors are gonna follow the same patterns. They gonna get stiff necked, get stubborn. You
Hmm.
know, you gonna let go our wealth. Because if you look at all of the wealth here in America, I don't care what they say. Even if we be the ones that be impoverished, everything is gauged towards us. Industry, far as music, far as even when it comes to vehicles, all this stuff, we be the laborers out there, and we be the main ones consuming this stuff. Almost everything that make money, we on both ends of it except for the top.
Hmm.
Yeah. So for this is the covenant I shall make with the house of Israel in the day in those after those days, declares Yahuwah. This is back at Jeremiah 31:33. I shall
Okay.
put my Torah in their inward parts and write it on their hearts, and I shall be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. And no longer shall they teach each one his neighbor and
Ooh.
each one his brother, saying, Know Yahuwah, for they shall all know me, from the least of them to the greatest of them, declares Yahuwah, for I shall forgive their crookedness and remember their sin no more. He gonna make us clean. He gonna wash us clean. Thus says Yahuwah, who gives the sun for the light by day,
Mm.
and sun for the light by day, and the laws of the moon and the stars for the light by night, who stirs
Ooh.
up the sea and its waves roar. Yahuwah of hosts is his name. If these laws vanish from before me, declares Yahuwah, then the seed of Israel shall also cease from being a nation before me
What?
forever. Now that right there, that smacks up it. The laws
You
are
gotta
not
read
done
that.
away.
Hey, you gotta read that again. You gotta read that again, man. You gotta read it again.
If these laws or if the Torah vanish from before me, declares Yahuwah, then the seed of Israel shall also cease from being a nation before me forever.
Mm.
You
Mm.
know,
Mm.
and that kind of explains why they want to say the law is done away with, because that means Israel ceased from being forever, and now the covenant can be given to other people. Because
You,
if you don't have any beneficiary, the government get
you take all your possessions. Yes.
the acting government get, and so yeah, they want Israel to be done. They want to change the beneficiaries of the covenant. Yes, that makes
Mm.
sense. The
Woo.
the law done away. The beneficiaries.
That was good right there, man. That's good stuff.
Mm-mm.
That's good stuff.
Man, that thus says Yahuwah, if the heavens above could be measured and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, I would also cast off all the seed of Israel for
Mm.
all that they have done, declares Yahuwah. So it's letting you know it can't be measured. Oh man. See, the days are coming, declares Yahuwah, that the city shall be built for Yahuwah from the tower of Hananel to the corner gate, and the measuring line shall again extend straight ahead to the hill of Gareb. That is, it shall turn toward Goah, and all the valley of the dead bodies and of the ashes. All the valleys of the dead bodies and the ashes, and the fields are far as the Wadi Kidron to the corner of the horse gate toward the east. Is it to be set apart to Yahuwah? It shall not be plucked up and thrown down any more forever. Hold on now. Hold on.
All right.
The valley of the dead bodies. Hmm. Let's go back over here to this Isaiah 66 real quick.
Okay.
I know it's about time to wrap this up, but
You are, man. Hey, look, man. This is the Lord's day.
yeah,
I mean, this is it is
I know
Yahuwah's
what
day.
you mean. I see.
Mhm.
I had to tell Ted that it's like, man, I ain't come on now.
Yes. You know where
Cause
my heart's at.
I
You know
know
my
what you
heart.
know what your heart. No, no,
Yes.
no, 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 no. We talked about this earlier, boy. We was on this. Is Isaiah? Let me get over here. Come on, Isaiah 66. Sometimes this thing don't want to move like I want it to move, but we're gonna make it move, 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 move. Come on now. I'm hitting it.
Oh,
It ain't moving.
hallelujah.
What's up? See this technology. We talk
Oh,
about
yes,
it. I
tell
keep
me
hitting
about it.
Isaiah 66. I mean Isaiah. Let me hit it again. Okay, Isaiah, and go down to 66. It ain't. Let me refresh my stuff. Refresh the screen, and maybe it'll act right. Okay. Now let's try it again. All right. Is it gonna go?
Mhm.
That mug is it's tripping. Okay. Come on. Oh man, I'm gonna have to do something else then, huh? Let me see.
Mhm.
I think I'm gonna have to do something else. Let me see if I can make it move somewhere. Let me see. Let me see. Let me try copying it and open up a whole nother window and see if I can start from there. And then, all right, let's try the Isaiah 66 again. Come on. You say you don't want to cooperate, huh? I'm gonna have to read it. Just read it. Man, this thing don't want to cooperate. All right. Let me see. Don't want to cooperate. All right. Isaiah 66. Never mind. I'm gonna go straight to Isaiah 66 myself. Isaiah 66 TS 2009. Let's see if it pull me up an inquiry. There it go. Since it don't want to do it, it don't want to do it the manual way. I've circumvented it. I know what to do. Okay. I'm gonna go back and read that what I just read so I can keep some cohesiveness. And
All
it's
right.
in all this is Jeremiah 31 and 40. And all the valley of the dead bodies and of the ashes and all the fields as far as the Wadi Kidron to the corner of the horse gate towards the east is to be set apart to Yahuwah. It shall not be plucked up or thrown down anymore forever. So going down Isaiah 66, and I'm going to kind of start where we did earlier. I know is more than needed, but I'm gonna go there. Isaiah 66:20.
All
And
right.
they shall bring all your brothers, all your brothers, all your ox
Mm-hmm.
as an offering. This is talking to Israel, to Yahuwah out of all the nations, on horses and chariots and in litters, on mules and on camels, to my set apart mountain Jerusalem, declares Yahuwah, as the children of Israel. That's who they getting, who they collecting. They bringing all the brothers. They bring an offering in a clean vessel. So he said he was the one that's gonna clean them up. So they're gonna be clean, and they gonna be the clean vessels into the house of Yahuwah. And from them two I shall take for priests, for Levites. So he gonna, out of all these brothers, all these ox, all these Israelites, all these Yahudim, he gonna choose for Levites, declares Yahuwah. For as the new heavens and the new earth that I make stand before me, declares Yahuwah, showing that you're gonna have a whole new earth, new heaven, they're gonna be renewed. So your
Okay.
seed and your name shall stand. So the name of Israel gonna stand, and it shall be that from new moon to new moon, so month to month, and
Mm-hmm.
from Sabbath to Sabbath. So the
Mm-hmm.
Sabbath is still there. All flesh shall come to worship. So all flesh is going to be involved with the Sabbath and new moon, month to months. So all Sabbaths are going to deal with the Moedims, to
Mm-hmm.
worship before me, declares Yahuwah. So it ain't gonna be two different laws. It's gonna be one, all everybody. And they shall go forth and look upon the corpse of the men who have transgressed, those who have sinned against me, those who went against the laws. For their worm shall not die, and their fire shall not be quenched, and they shall be repulsive to all flesh. So they're going to shall go forth and look upon corpses of the men who transgressed against me. Going back to Jeremiah 31 and 40, and the valley of the dead bodies and of the ashes,
Mm-hmm.
ashes,
Mm-hmm.
corpses that are dealing with worms and fire. Fire would leave ashes So the valley of dead bodies and of the ashes. So these two connect.
Mm-hmm. I
It's
can see the
talking-
correlation. I can see the
Yeah.
correlation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is at the end time, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because if you go up in 66, you see, you know, that Yah, okay, let me see. Okay. It says on 15, for look, Yahuwah comes with fire and with his chariots, like a whirlwind, to render his displeasure with burning and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword, Yahuwah shall judge all flesh,
Mm-hmm.
and the slain of Yahuwah shall be many, those that set themselves apart. So those who make themselves holy and cleanse themselves at the gardens after one in the midst, eating flesh of pigs, eating swine.
Mm-hmm.
So those that eat swine and eat pig better be on alert. And the abomination and the mouse.
And the mouse.
So and the abomination and the mouse.
Mm-hmm.
So almost anything that's considered unclean is labeled as an abomination to eat because it's waste management. It eats dead, deceased things, and it eats feces. These are things that we are not supposed to eat. But he says these he's going to come deal with, and they're going to be snatched away together, declares Yahuwah. And again, down at the end, it speaks of, and they shall go forth and look upon the corpses. So the people that's left going to be able to see the corpses of those, the men who transgressed against him.
Mm-hmm.
If there's no law, there's no transgression.
There it is. Now Paul said.
Mm-hmm. But of course, Yah forbid.
Mm-hmm.
They'll tell you, send them more. You know, you can increase your sentence so grace could abound. No.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Abiyah, we thank you for that time of talk. Let your Sabbath be honored. Let rest occur. Let your word be held and let those that hear this be able to test it and get something from it if they can. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Glory to the King.